Open a map on your phone and look at the satellite view. It is incredibly easy to assume we have this planet completely figured out. We act as if every valley, ridge, and forest has been cleanly categorized. Randy Cruz has spent a little over 18 years working search and rescue in the Appalachian Mountains. Looking at those peaks from a distance, it is difficult to grasp their actual scale. The Appalachian Range stretches across thousands of square miles of dense forest cover, hiding forgotten homesteads and vast subterranean cave systems. When someone goes missing in that massive expanse, the explanation is almost always straightforward. A hiker twists an ankle miles from the road. A hunter gets disoriented after dark and walks in circles. You follow the tracks, you run the search grid, and eventually you locate the person. Over his career, Cruz has successfully closed hundreds of those logical, predictable cases. But nestled deep within his case files is a tiny fraction of a percent. These are the official reports where the physical evidence stubbornly refuses to align with reality. The files detailing these specific cases come directly from the field logs of active searches. They represent moments where procedural methodology stopped working and left experienced investigators staring at evidence they couldn't reconcile. The strangeness usually starts on a biological level. In 2018, property owners across a specific county discovered dead livestock and deer lying near the tree line. The animals showed no signs of a struggle. They had not been eaten. Instead, they bore highly unusual, isolated puncture wounds. Around that exact same time, multiple independent witnesses, people who did not know each other, reported seeing massive bat-like silhouettes operating at night near a local cave system. A few years later, in the winter of 2021, several unaffiliated groups, including Cruz and another senior search and rescue officer, observed packs of large wolves roaming the ridges with a luminous blue-green sheen on their fur. To understand this, look at this diagram of an animal hair follicle struck by white light. Under specific winter conditions, moonlight interacts with certain coats in strange ways. The rays bend and refract through the fur, scattering into a visible blue-green spectrum. Events like this are undeniably eerie, but they operate safely within the boundaries of science. Nature produces undocumented rare optical illusions all the time. An unidentified predator or a glowing wolf pack can be rationalized with enough biological data. Other cases, however, present physical evidence that is much harder to categorize. In October 2014, Tyler Morgan and Emily Davis went for a day hike near Black Hollow Cave. When they failed to return, search and rescue initiated a standard protocol at the trailhead where the couple had parked. The operation proceeded exactly as expected, until searchers on a steep, rocky ridge located a verified drop of blood belonging to one of the missing hikers, followed by another drop 20 yards away. Cruz and his team tracked this erratic, intermittent path for nearly half a mile. The spacing of the blood indicated someone walking while injured, leaving a trail straight across the high terrain. Then the trail reached a sheer cliff. The final few drops of blood sat perfectly undisturbed on a flat rock less than 3 feet from an open drop-off. Search teams immediately deployed ropes, drones, and additional personnel into the ravine below, scouring the thick timber and massive boulders. Before sunset, they found 0 bodies, 0 backpacks, 0 broken branches, and no point of impact. A search professional relies on the laws of momentum and displacement. An injured adult cannot descend a several hundred-foot cliff without disturbing the canopy, breaking branches, or leaving a localized point of impact. On this ridge, the trail simply stopped where the ground did. The most difficult cases are those where the environment itself seems to malfunction. During a search for a missing 70-year-old man, Cruz and his partner heard faint music in the deep woods. They tracked the sound to a decades-old, weather-beaten AM radio sitting beside a fallen tree. The radio was broadcasting a clear, live feed of music, commercials, and sports scores directly out of the 1990s. Cruz carried it with him for hours. The exact moment he crossed the threshold into the clearing of the search and rescue command camp, the radio instantly died and never produced another sound. Then there is 9-year-old Ethan, who vanished from his family's campground. Following a faint, overgrown path up a steep ridge, search teams located the boy inside the locked cellar of a crumbling abandoned house, the exterior adorned with dozens of strange, homemade wind chimes. Ethan was completely unharmed, but he remembered absolutely nothing after walking away from his tent. He had no memory of traversing miles of difficult terrain, climbing a ridge mine, or how he ended up locked inside a dusty basement that showed zero signs of recent human activity. Between an antique radio, playing the sounds of 1990, and a missing child found, with no memory of the journey, these cases represent a specific kind of failure. They are moments where the environment itself offers no logical path for the investigator to follow. We rely on thermal drones, digital tracking, and satellite mapping to give us a sense of control over the wilderness. Yet deep inside Appalachia, there are still vast tracts of landscape operating entirely on their own terms. For seasoned professionals trained to find logical answers, leaving a case file permanently open carries a heavy psychological weight. They revisit these locations for years, standing at the edge of a cliff or a condemned foundation, searching for a single missing detail to make the pieces fit. The reality is, the mountains do not owe us those answers. The true terror of these cases lies in the deeply humbling realization that our logic, our science, and our tracking methods are still incapable of explaining every corner of the natural world.